Believe it or not, I'm in Kansas. A lot of people say Kansas is treeless and flat. So why do you need a wood chipper? Well, this is my backyard. It's being overrun by evergreens. Cedars mostly. It's a huge problem. Used to be a problem only in eastern Kansas, but as the climate changes, western Kansas is becoming more and more affected by the overgrowing of cedar trees. So, I need a little wood chipper to get in here, keep my trail clean, and decimate a lot of these evergreens, because that can't be too good for that old cottonwood tree to have all of these evergreens growing underneath of it. And I can take you around to all kinds of other places and show you all kinds of trees, but I think you get the idea, right? Uh-oh, found somebody. We just got done grilling broadson corn. It was nice. It was a really cool day today. It's July 6th and it was only 70 degrees for the high. It was amazing. Yesterday it was 105 or thereabouts. Might have been 106, whatever, close enough, 105. So yeah, today almost felt chilly. But anyway, the point of my rambling is this is what I currently do with all the branches that I don't want. And I really don't like having these big brush piles. The rattlesnakes love it, and the pack rats love it. So yeah, I'd like to do something with it. That's why I'm thinking chips, making nice chips out of everything would be really good. We get scattered around down here, and you know, make compost and whatever, mulch, however you want to word it. So yeah, I just thought I'd say that's really why I want a wood chipper. I had a few people say, oh, you know, Kansas is flat and treeless. Well, not completely. And also, I want a small one, a narrow one that the four-wheeler can pull, so I can pull it up and down my little trail here, and get it in here. I've had a few people suggest using an old silage chopper, which is a great idea. I actually thought about doing that over the years, many times, converting one of our old silage choppers into a wood chipper. But then you got to have a tractor to pull it, and there's no way you're getting a tractor down in here. I mean, this is the path up and out of here, you know. So yeah, that's why I want to have it small. So I've got some ideas. So let's go talk about those. And this is the engine. I showed it briefly in the intro video. This is off of an old Dixon mower. Well, technically it's still on a Dixon mower. Hopefully it still runs. It did run when I got this mower, but it's been sitting outside ever since now. Just never got around to getting it covered or gotten it taken off of there or whatever, but that should be a decent engine. The only thing I don't like about it is there's no pull start. So I don't know if I want to add pull start to it or not. I hate relying on electric start, especially where this engine sits around a lot. It might be a little difficult to keep a battery up on it. I probably won't even keep a battery on the chipper. That's probably what I'll have to do. Just put a battery on it when I need it.
So I don't know. We'll see if I make a pull start or not. I've seen a couple videos on YouTube where people did that, but I don't know if I'll go to that work. But anyway, that's the engine. And for spindles, I have these that I'm thinking about using. There's some 4-bolt spindles off an old cultivator. I don't know if I'm going to use them or not, because I was planning on using these on a leveler, since they have the tubing and tubing adjustment thing. And by leveler, I mean a dirt mover. So I'm not 100% sure. I do have another set of spindles, so we'll look at those too. But that's what I'm thinking about putting on there. I do want it to ride on like car tire size tires. Here's an, this is an implement tire, but it's still a 15-inch wheel. So something like that. I don't want it to ride on little lawnmower tires. As much as I'm going to be pulling it around. And there's a possibility I may even be taking it over to the neighbors or something else too. Might be pulling it behind the pickup. I don't know. So I want good tall tires on it. And it'll make it a lot easier to get around on the pasture too. I also have these spindles. Well, the shadows are kind of wreaking havoc here, aren't they? They're off a front-wheel drive car. And I got the tires to go with it. Tires and wheels. Obviously, boy, it's a lot darker out here than I thought. Anyway, this tire's ripped. And they're 14-inch tires. Doubt you can see that. I really don't want to use 14s because it's a little more difficult for me to find used 14-inch tires around here. But it's not that big of a deal. I mean, just a little more difficult. Once I find a set of tires for it, it should be on there for the rest of its life, right? So anyway, think about using these spindles. I don't really know. It's going to be a little more difficult to attach it to the thing, and then it's got the brakes on it, so I probably won't use these, but they're there if I decide to. And while walking around out here, I found this knife set out of a silage cutter, half buried for some reason. I don't know why all that rock is on top of it. I thought about using it when I first saw it, but this thing is massive. I mean, the flywheel on this thing is just enormous. That shaft is huge. I tried moving it. I can't even think about getting it to rock. I mean, it obviously it's got some debris and dirt, on top of it, kind of holding it down a little better, and it's sunk down into the dirt, but just the weight of that alone would just be unreal. So I don't think I'm going to use it. I don't know. I could always probably chop it down. It looks like I could just go from here to here on it. So I don't know, we'll see. But I'd really like to just go ahead and make my own from scratch. Just giving the scrap pile a glance over, and I saw this thing laying here. And it is 17 inches square. I measured both directions. And 3/4 of an inch thick. But it has an angle iron welded to it. It's welded on there really well, both sides. So that would be a lot of work to get that thing cleaned up. It'd be really close to what I want though. So if I don't find something else, I might use that thing. I'm guessing that is the foot off of an old oil rig, the actual tower, before they had portable drilling units. That's my guess anyway. And I also found this piece of metal, which is a channel shape. I don't know, might be, not sure what it's off of, but that might work good for a deflector spout for it. So I'll keep it in mind too. And as far as building the actual frame for the chipper, I have this old cultivator laying out here. It's the same one that those spindles that I just showed are off of. So that'd be plenty of metal. Definitely heavy enough. I don't need anything near that big, but it would help for years of abuse. And here's a few other odds and ends that are laying around. Looks like I got plenty of metal to build a frame with. I also have this old generator. The engine ran out of oil. Didn't get it checked often enough. But the generator head itself should still be good.
I tried taking it apart, but I couldn't get the generator off of the crankshaft of the engine. But surely if I give it a good honest effort, I can get it off of there. So I think I'm going to put that generator on there too, and that way I could run an electric chainsaw. Then I wouldn't have to have the gas chainsaw and a gas engine on the chipper running. And who knows, I might even want to set up a work light or something at night. And it would be a nice little portable generator now and again. So I'm going to try putting that on there too.
So what am I missing? I think at this point I'm going to need some pulleys and bearings and belts and screws and bolts. A lot of those little things like that. And other than that, all I need is all the components to build the actual chipper part itself. You know, the plate to make the flywheel, or whatever you want to call it, that holds the knives. Whatever I need to make the anvils for it, and the entire housing to hold it. So, yeah, that's not a big deal, right? It's only the main part of the machine. Okay, I think at this point I am going to start doing some drawing. There's still a few dimensions I don't know, but I'll start plugging in like that engine and the generator and maybe these tires and spindles, and figure out what kind of size of flywheel and housing and whatever you want to call it for the chipper unit itself, what size that's going to be, and I'll just start drawing. So the next video will probably be just kind of overlooking the drawing and talking about it. So anyway, just thought I'd bring you along on my process of kind of how I build projects. So I either walk around the farm. If I know I have stuff, I walk around the farm and look at it. Got a few piles of junk here and there. And if I don't have it, sometimes I'll go to a couple salvage yards around me and see if they have anything. And sometimes I go hit up the neighbors and see if they're willing to part with anything. And I start piling all the pieces together and figuring out what I have and what I'm going to use, and then I make a drawing. That's my usual plan on projects. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed this. Probably wasn't too exciting, but a little look into my thought processes of how I do stuff, maybe. So we will see y'all next week, hopefully, when I get the drawing done.